Welcome to the Startup Grind.
After reading about you, Gerard, and just getting to know you, virtually the past couple weeks, I noticed that you dropped out of school after literally one semester, and I think you just talked about that a little bit. But then you immediately got a job. Like, you were taken seriously very quickly. How did you do that? How did you manage to get taken seriously without an education? And on top of that, what do you think about the education and the need to go to college these days?
It's a loaded question. So I'm pro-education. After that situation happened to me, my initial reaction was, okay, I want to make my parents proud and go into college. So first semester, I went to a local community college known as Caldwell College, and I just felt it wasn't for me. The reason being is, I look at college like a big business. There's a lot of great things that come from it. There's a lot of great fundamentals, and there's, I think, for specific things, I think college is great. But they were telling me specifically what classes I needed to take in order to get to the classes I wanted to take. And I'm paying for this. So I was like, this system for me felt broken, and I really wanted to learn about business at the time. And the internet started booming. So I was like, well, I really want to take a chance on this internet thing, and I found a mentor early on. And that mentor, to try to not go through the whole story of how it happened, that mentor really inspired me. It was the first time I met someone at a young age that had a 3-car garage, was doing it, was making it. And I was like, well, I'll do anything it takes to become his apprentice and learn from him. And that would be my education. And it worked. And then by being his apprentice, he inspired me to start my first business before I got that job. And I was really interested in stocks, and he was teaching me about stocks. And I decided to start a stock forum to meet other people that were investing into stocks, because I couldn't find too many really cool communities online that had a rating system where you would be able to click on a username and get to know who these people were. If they had 5 stars that were gold and clicked on their name, you would know this person they picked Apple, they picked Coca-Cola. Like, you could tell that they were really good at investing, and therefore I would want to learn from them. And that website, I was able to, while my friends were partying in college now more than they were in high school, I was staying up till 4 in the morning, going on any forum possible, every AOL chat room possible, saying, come to StockSpot and learn about stocks and be a part of this community. And I was able to get 10,000 people by doing that. And that website caught the attention of a CEO. And that CEO reached out to me and was like, hey, how do I advertise on your website? And I was like, oh, I can make money with you? Like, what is this about? And he was like, well, how old are you? I don't think you understand the value of what you created. Let me come to my office and meet me. And when I went to his office, at that time, marketing was done in a very traditional means, and digital media really was starting to take off at that time. And he was like, I'm going to mentor you and teach you everything you need to know about investor relations and public relations, while you help us be able to tell our story to the masses online. And that's how it happened. And that was the beginning, of changing my life, to be honest. I mean, I was working at an office till 3, 4 in the morning, and I was obsessed with this company that was a nanotechnology company reinventing the battery.
Was that called the StockSpot? Is that what I read about?
Yeah, StockSpot was the website.
All right. Now, what I'd like to talk about is just failure. Okay? I want to, I noticed you have a particular interest in finance, and it seems like, stocks, an awesome website, gathering the attention from CEOs. I noticed that StockSpot changed during 2008?
Yeah, big time.
And I wanted can you tell us a little bit about what happened and what you learned from that particular moment in time?
That really wasn't the big failure. The big failure was the nanotechnology company. I ended up marketing them for a year, getting them written on every magazine. Stock was up 400%. It was literally unbelievable, how much publicity they were getting. And I decided to do the first ever live demonstration of their company, to show the nano battery on a screen. A similar situation like this, but there was about 200 people, investors in the media in the room, for them to raise their first 7-figure round to take it into mass production. And I had set up this whole event, and during that event, it was my first time ever going on stage. I was 19, I looked like a kid, and at that event, when I introduced the chief scientist officer and CEO, when he came up and he went to show the battery, it didn't work. And that was my first experience with failure. And I thought my career was over from that. And because of that, I decided to launch my agency to do digital marketing because a guy came up to me and said, "Hey kid, I'm surprised you got me in the room, call me." So I was like, you know what? Maybe this company failed, but I have the ability to tell stories. I have the ability to get attention to market. So there's gotta be other companies out there that need this gift. And so I started doing that, did really well, got it to 10 million in revenue, started investing in the stock market. And then the biggest experience of failure in my life was during the time of that 2009, I wanna say, where the recession really hit for me. My father got laid off, all my clients stopped wanting to spend money, and all the money I had invested into the market was now gone. And I lost it all, and I went from being in my mid-20s, feeling I had it all, to everything being taken away from me at that time.
So there's a lot to learn from failure, but I think the most valuable part of failure is pulling out of it, right? Like what one does when they're truly at their lowest moment, the way that you come back to that defines how you compete and who you are. And could you talk a little bit about that and what drove you to really get to the next level out of the lowest level ever? But then at the same time, could you talk about, for the people that are in the room contemplating starting a company or jumping into the entrepreneurial deep end, like what does it take to get out of that low point and get to your ultimate high?
How many of you have actually been through a failure in life? Like, take a look around. Like, that's amazing. You know, I think it's not like failure, you know, we call it failure. We put this like title on it, but think about it, right? Like, is it really failure? Right? No, it's not. Like, it's the process, you know, and it's part of the journey, and it's a part of the learning experience. So like, that moment when I lost all the millions of dollars I had worked so hard for, I thought like, you know, obviously, because I think that we get so caught up in being attached to money, because money is obviously extremely important. I learned later in my life that impact is more important than money, and money never leads, it follows. And at any given point, God will can take that all away from you. And, you know, for me, it's been overcoming these failures that makes you successful in life. And not just in business, just in life. You know, especially with Fownders, what we teach is personal development is just as important as business development. And if you ain't prepared to overcome life's challenges and obstacles, you are never going to truly get to your biggest potential, like what you may perceive as success. And I've had failures nonstop. I mean, I go through failures on a daily basis. Like, entrepreneurship is about solving problems. So it's about learning. I tell the entrepreneurs I work with all the time, I tell my team all the time, if you're not making mistakes, you're not moving forward. Like, you need to, like, my CTO loves when I sound like, I'm like, yo, break shit. I'm like, break shit. It's like, that's when you really learn. Like, it's so important. So in the beginning of my career, I thought I was devastation and all that, and I thought my career was over. Later, now, at this point in my life, I'm like, bring it on. And I think that's part of the journey. Bring it on. They're the highs, they're the lows, and at the end of the day, that's why the personal development is so important. Work on yourself just as much as you want to work on your business, because it's really like right here. You know, finding what I call like finding that leader within, that like you're willing to just overcome the adversity and the challenges on a daily basis. Work on the fact that like whether you're going through a failure, making a mistake in business, or in your mind, you're like, this isn't gonna work. You have that doubt sit in, that fear sit in, you know, all those things. Like, you work that muscle where it's like, nah, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna solve this problem. I'm gonna push forward.
Quick clap it up, real quick for that one. Gerard, I just want you to know that when we do our event wrap-ups, we always talk about the most quotable line of what the speaker said. And I know, maybe I speak for myself, but there was about 15 of them in that one that you just, that soliloquy you just presented us with. So let's get out of the failure thing. Let's move on, all right? Who wants to talk about Elite Daily? Yeah, right here. So, hands down, one of my favorite websites of all time. Do you want to know why? Because it was the first website that targeted millennials, that had a specific focus on entrepreneurship. And for me, it was like bookmark, bookmark, bookmark. Every page, I spent nights reading that. So thank you. And I want to talk about Elite Daily now because I'd love to learn about your transition. So Gerard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Gerard started Elite Daily as the sole funder, right? With 2 interns that he then at one point said, no, let's squat up here, and you guys are now going to become, I don't know, why don't you just describe it? The interns really grew and became part of the movement and partnered with Gerard here, and it was amazing that...
He became the CEO and COO of the company.
So just tell us about that, because it's unbelievable.
It's a really, I mean, the story is, I can't wait to write a book about it, because I don't have enough time to talk about how it all came about and manifested. It was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, and I'm so grateful to the team. So David was interning for me because his father was in jail, and he came to me and said, I'm looking for a mentor in life, and I don't have it. My father's away, I don't know where to go. I said, well, show up in my office. And he started showing up in my office, and his work ethic, and that's why I believe, work ethic, as we all know, it's one of the most, no doubt, most important traits at the end of the day. That a lot of young millennials really, I think, get it. They hear grind all the time, but they don't actually understand it. No, you really, really gotta grind. You really, really have to understand grind. And David, he had that grinding on him. He had that startup grind. So David came to me and was like, I want to create a website for millennials around business. And we were like, well, we shouldn't do it just around business. We should create the Huffington Post of Generation Y, the voice of Generation Y. I think timing is so important. So we ended up buying the domain name for $9.99 in GoDaddy in my apartment. And we weren't journalists. We didn't know how we were going to do it. We didn't have, this unbelievable roadmap. We just genuinely, we wanted it to exist. I genuinely believe as an entrepreneur that you should be creating something that you wish existed. I mean, that's the same. I'm literally following my formula throughout my entire life. The same reason why you have built this here in Buffalo, I want this where I grew up. Why don't we need this? We need this back home where I grew up, And then create the things that you wish existed, that you want. It's not that, because I think that's first and foremost. And we wanted to find the Millennial website. We're opening up all these different tabs. So we're like, let's create it and let's go and let's figure this thing out. And we started interviewing each other and then interviewing our friends, asking everybody to share the content in our ecosystem. And then finding the right advisors was really critical for us. I genuinely believe that you cannot do it alone. It started with the 3 of us. We had to learn how to build a team around us, and we needed to find how to get the right advisors around us, the right mentors around us, eventually the right investors, and learn how to become sustainable. An idea is great, but at the end of the day, you need to learn how to become a sustainable business pretty quickly, because that's the only way that you're going to actually really grow. And so how are you going to create something of value that actually is going to be able to make money at the same time? The most important thing is how to create something that is going to create enough value for your customers and for your users and for your audience first, and putting them first, because I always say money never leads, it follows. And making it to that point, sacrificing to that point until you're able to then, at that point, that, okay, now the time is right. People value it that much. Let's now monetize it. And that's what we did. And we were able to figure out what content was missing in the market that millennials were searching for, why millennials wanted a voice, and they wanted to be able to share authentically about what they were going through on a day-to-day basis. I wish we had more articles about entrepreneurship. That was me who was pushing that. But the fact of the matter is that millennials want to talk about dating. They can't they can't be in a relationship. They wanted to talk about what she wants, what he wants, why it wasn't working. Dating was like our number one vertical, and then culture, entertainment, and we started understanding those trends, understanding the words that would go viral. That odd numbers work better than even numbers, and it's data. It's understanding that data, studying that data on a micro level, and then optimizing it and using it to a macro level. And then at that point, basically it started going to scale. Okay, how do we now, really get the right tech stack? How do we get the right CTO in place now? Oh wow, listen, we need to get video popping. Let's go and find the best videographer who believes in our mission. The number one thing is culture. You need to figure out how to build an unbelievable culture. Elite Daily got to where it was, of course, because of understanding those trends, understanding how to monetize, getting advice. But if I were to give it one core secret thing to your company that you need, is how do you create I think this is what you're doing here. How do you create such an unbelievable culture that people want to be there regardless? They just love it. They love what you're doing and they love what it stands for. And that's where the purpose really clicks in. Especially for, at that point, Elite Daily, where we were a millennial-driven website, we really wanted to build a culture that millennials that were on average 24 or younger wanted to work, wanted to grind, believed in the bigger mission, and then created something where they can learn, they were challenged. And for us, that I think was our secret sauce that allowed us to grow. And then the exit that's a whole other story.
Let me tell you about my secret sauce and why it resonated with me so much. Because at the time I was 19 to 21. And the website was beautiful and clean. I gotta figure out where you got all of the images that resonated perfectly with the content of the art of the pieces that you were writing, because it was unbelievable how much the lead image made me want to read what was below. That really resonated with me. The website also said and provided me with all of the answers to the questions that I had as a millennial. Whether it was dating or entrepreneurship or advice about going to college. You know what I mean? It was something that I couldn't get off the website. So, thank you.
Awesome. It was for millennials by millennials.
Say that for me.
It was for millennials by millennials. Whatever it is that you're creating, your team should be like your customers. They should be people that that have faced the same problem. And then you just need to bring it out to reality and let the world tell you if it's real or not. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. So
you also just answered 6 of my questions. You're just nailing them out for me. So we're really not missing anything that I had on here. You're grouping them all into answers. It's perfect. So let's talk about the $50 million exit. Shoot me straight here. Did you ball out a little bit after that? What did you and your team do? How did you celebrate? Be completely honest with us here in Buffalo.
Yo, real talk. So the exit was really cool. I have to give this context a little bit. I didn't want to sell. I didn't plan. We saw John Steinberg, and this is really important for your company, early stage. If you want to get an exit, and you want to get an exit fast, the people that you get involved in your company at an early stage is absolutely critical to getting you to an exit strategy. And I think that's something that that's the one thing that VC can help you with. They can help you solidify you in that market space, in that industry, and then you better tell them, help you get those connections. But your advisory board for us was critical. So John Steinberg was the CEO of BuzzFeed, which had an $800 million market cap at the time. He left BuzzFeed to go to the Daily Mail, another media publication in the UK that was trying to get a footprint here in the US. And when we saw that happen, I literally tracked him down at an event just like this. Morgan Stanley threw the event, and I waited for him at the door. When everyone was done chasing him at the stage, by the time he got to that door, I elevator pitched him. Gave him my card, said, give me one shot. And emailed him over and over and over again until he finally said, okay. I even, not only myself emailed him, I asked every one of our investors and everybody that anybody knew a way to get in touch with him to please hit him up from another side. And eventually we got him to come to the office. And that's why I say the culture was it. Because when he came in and saw the energy of our culture, he was like, whoa, like, and at that time we had like 150 employees. And then he looked into analytics. And we knew, like, he was going to Daily Mail, so we were like, yeah, this could be eventually become an exit. Little did we know that we would have that exit opportunity within, like, 6 months. And everything in my life stopped. And I don't know if we have that much time to talk to you about the process for that, which was really insane. I got a threatening letter in the mail from the VCs. I had to raise $5 million in 10 days. I had to make a speech in front of the boardroom where Alan Patricoff himself was in that boardroom. He's like a godfather venture capitalist of the East Coast. I mean, it was like amazing. Everything in my life stopped. But so to fast forward all those moments, at the very end, at the table, I finally looked at David and JSP. David's mom had texted me before the board meeting. Because remember, David's father was away. And David's mom texted me like, oh my God, like, what are you gonna do? And I was the blocking vote. I was like, I told you to take care of yourself. Like, I got you. And I remember I pulled David. I'm so proud of David and JSP. He was 18, 19 at the time when I met him. To be in that situation is really remarkable. What he did to have that pressure on him. And us three pulled each other into a side room, looked each other in the eyes, and we're like, all right, we started this together, we're gonna finish it together. And I was like, let's not sell. Like, look at all our peers' and valuations. And he was like, Facebook's changing their algorithms, big risk to the business. We're growing to 200 employees. We have $1 billion company that's going to give security. Everyone who's ride or died for us believed in us. And who knows what comes next from this. So, and rule of thumb is, like with your co-founders, if they want to go, you should too. So I said, we started it, we finished it together. So we went in, we voted. So after that, we partied like a mug. And the really cool thing was we, as a company, we all went to the Dream Hotel in Manhattan, and we rented the whole top floor penthouse. We bought out PhD, we lit bottles, and it was fun. And we just did that just to celebrate that moment with the company, with everyone in our company. And then afterwards, I was so scared, because remember, I know what it's like to lose millions of dollars. So I didn't want to touch the money. So I opened up a trust. And I told them, send all that money to the trust. And I didn't, and I won't say it, but I put someone really important to me in charge of the trust. And to this day, that money sits in the trust, and I don't really touch it. And the only thing I bought for myself was this watch, the one at the AP. And then I had a really strong moment with my faith. My accountant said to me, you're coming into multiple millions of dollars, you should move to Florida and save on the state income tax. So I went to Florida, and I was with my girlfriend at the time. We looked at this beautiful condo with ocean views. I was getting ready to sign the paperwork, and I was on the balcony, and I looked out at that balcony, and I said to myself, my work isn't done. And this is not like, I'm not there yet. Like, I have a lot more work to do as a role model. And at the time, I never cared about my personal brand. I only cared about my businesses. But I started seeing all these millennials watching all these people on social media getting influenced. And I was like, there needs to be more real entrepreneurs out there that are sharing the stories, because like getting the exit was great, but the 14 years it took me to get there of overcoming failure, what I had learned from that was like, I really wanted to share that, to know it doesn't happen overnight, and to like, doesn't matter where you're from, what your background is, what your race is, what your gender is, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, anyone can become successful. Anyone can become a great entrepreneur depending on who you are. And I really wanted to share that message. And at that point in time in Newark, where my grandparents immigrated to, and where my parents grew up, and my dad went to high school, and where I got caught up into all the hustling, gang culture, and all that stuff, I was like, why am I speaking and teaching entrepreneurship in Silicon Valley? Why am I getting ranked top 100 most influential in tech and speaking in Silicon Alley when where I go in my neighborhood ain't nobody bringing any resources and teaching people entrepreneurship, personal development, the skills I had to learn the hard way? They're not teaching those in school. So that's when, like, all this started hitting me. And the biggest mentor for me was Tony Robbins, and he said, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So at that point in my life, I really started thinking about that. So I came back to Newark, and that's when I started Fownders.
So let's perfect transition into Fownders. You've done this before, haven't you?
I'm the director of the Newark chapter for Startup Grind. So I've done it.
So he actually had an event last night, and
Usually I'm on your side.
usually I'm on your side.
Okay, cool.
All right, so let's talk about Fownders. Now, Fownders, the reason why I was so excited to learn from Gerard today, from my personal standpoint, is because we offer here at DIG in the Innovation Center almost everything that Gerard is offering in Newark for his entrepreneurs and the people that he inspires daily. What we admittedly lack, and what I'm going to be working on in the next year, is our mentorship, our education, and our coaching programs for our startups and our entrepreneurs here in the building, and not only in the building, but in our surrounding neighborhoods, the Fruit Belt, Allentown, downtown, and anybody that simply walks into the building. We struggle with that, and it's part of my job to make it better. So what I see you doing in Newark is so impressive, because I'm seeing shots of you FaceTiming with your entrepreneurs and going to the ultimate limits to make sure that they get what they need, and that inspires me to do better here. So I've got some questions about Fownders now, and for any of my DIG members out there that are here today, I want you to keep tabs on my progress. So if you see me doing better, you see me dropping the ball, you gotta let me know, okay? So why don't you tell us just a little bit about when you launched Fownders? I know that there was a point in your life where you said, I gotta get back to where I'm from. Well, why don't you tell us about your launch and just, what your mission is, just to get us started.
So, gosh, it was like going back and doing it all over again. I kind of didn't know what it was going to be and how it was going to happen. I just knew I wanted to create an ecosystem for entrepreneurs in Newark and be a part of creating a startup culture there that didn't exist. And it was very scary. When I first opened up my doors, I partnered with a real estate developer. We built it from the ground up. And when I first opened up the doors, I couldn't get entrepreneurs in the door. There wasn't a community there for entrepreneurship just yet. The city has come so far. Shout out to Newark, because it's come a long way. And I know you know what that feels like. So that's why I feel it's really dope to be here in Buffalo. So much is happening now. But when I first opened the doors, it was really difficult. And I followed in the footsteps of, I wanted to educate and wanted to mentor. And so I created a curriculum that I wish existed, that started in the morning with personal development, and then throughout the day we go into business development, called C2 Scale. And I basically would bring in experts from all over the country that were world-class leaders, CEOs, entrepreneurs in to teach a workshop and take them through a 12-week program. And if they hit their KPIs at the end of the 12 week, because I'm not a VC and I don't have a fund, I would invest in them. And it would give me also customer feedback from real entrepreneurs, real time, to understand their pain points. What do they value the most? What are they looking for the most? So I did 2 cohorts for the first year. In the second year, what I realized was that it's extremely hard to create a sustainable business with an incubator and accelerator model, unless you're a VC, or you have the state, you have the city or the state of government funding behind you. Me, I'm just an entrepreneur.
Or a medical campus.
What'd you say?
Or a medical campus.
Or a medical campus. Yeah. So we ended up still having that space. We don't charge for the space. If you're from Newark, I really tried to build, especially me being a minority, the minority entrepreneurs that are there. I put them into my program. I provide mentorship for them. I bring mentors to them, help them get funding. But it becomes sustainable. We just launched our social learning platform. Once I got all the feedback from the entrepreneurs in our ecosystem and what their true pain points were and what they were looking for, I decided, okay, how can I create something online that I can truly scale and create a sustainable business? So as of 2 weeks ago, we launched our beta of Fownders, app.founders.com, at $27 a month at an affordable price that can scale, that provides an online community similar to like a LinkedIn, specifically for entrepreneurs, where entrepreneurs can discover each other, look up based upon their interest, industry, skills, have that community aspect, because what I realize is entrepreneurs, the number one thing they're lacking is they want to be part of a community because they need to be empowered by one another, right? They need that culture, that community, the mentorship, and then the skills. So how can we create that in a scalable format online? And that's what we launched. We're in beta right now, and version 2 launches as of next week. And it's been our process. And every week we're bringing master classes on. What I noticed is that the way that that people want to digest content is not through like long curriculums. Even running the accelerator for 12 weeks was like draining on the entrepreneurs. So we're consolidating a lot of that content into like very specific, just what are the tactics? How do I learn to scale? How do I execute? How do I get results? So we're creating those short masterclasses, 4 to 8, and then live streams. And we're scaling it. We're already now in global. We're launching Latin America. And that's our focus now, is like really building that digital platform while supporting as a social enterprise. We have the nonprofit, so we're teaching entrepreneurship to the local middle schools. We do internships to the local high schools. We work with the homeless. We're planting trees in the city. We're doing a basketball tournament. Anything we were rebuilding, and we became the director for Startup Grind, and just now creating that ecosystem. One of the things that we're learning that I'm learning about Buffalo is one of the challenges here is how do we create that real ecosystem, right? Like how do we create the communication to, all the other co-working places, all the other labs, all the other code academies, all the other venture capitalists in the city. So when an entrepreneur comes in, you can help direct them, whether it's here in Dig or downstairs at 43 North, or, how do you make sure that you have that communication with that ecosystem so that you can put the entrepreneurs in the best position to succeed? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do in Newark. But the goal is to take Fownders to be in inner cities nationally and have a global learning, social learning platform.
Again, he just answered like 5 of my questions in one fell swoop there. So we're doing great on time too. Sweet. We're doing great on time. So let's do like 1 or 2 more questions. I'm going to turn it over to Jamil, and then we're going to open it up to you guys. It sounds like what's most important to you is the mentorship and the direction. Why is that? I think dig deep, and why is that? Why is it that it's so important to you? And why is it so important that everybody has someone that they can, rely on or look up to? So just mentorship as a whole, why is it so important?
Well, who here has had a mentor in their life? Like, how important has that mentor been to you? Extremely, right? Think about it. From like our parents or our uncle, our teachers, our brothers, our sisters, maybe our neighbors, like people in your life. That's how we build trust, and that's what we learn from experience. And that's how I got to where I am today at the end of the day. I started from when I was young to my career. And then when I got older, and obviously I had a lot of business mentors. My advisor bought my company, he was a mentor. But one of my earliest mentors said to me, Gerard, don't ever become an expert at any one thing, become an expert of experts. And and that stuck with me my entire life. And I mean, and it's like, it kind of screws me up a little bit, right? Because you're supposed to, like, you're told, like, kind of like have self-awareness, figure out what you're best at and double down on that. Gary Vee talks about that all the time, right? But the expert of experts always stuck with me. So I've always worked on, how do I become the best networker possible? I believe I'm the number one connected millennial in the world right now. Like, I worked so hard to not to just network, to build real relationships. Like, I think that it's so important to understand how to be a person of value. Like, I believe every one of us in this room has a story. We've all been through shit. We've all gone through things. We can all learn from each other at the end of the day. And so that's always been something that I've learned. I've always constantly, I don't care who you are, but I've always tried to be that expert of experts. I've always tried to get out there and find some people that I can learn from, become an apprentice. And then what I've learned is, and I know you were talking to me about this earlier, like, right, how do you want to create more mentors in this ecosystem? And for me particularly, what I've learned is that social currency matters. That's why, again, like, one of my favorite entrepreneurs, Gary Vee, right? Like, he was probably one of the first pioneers. I never cared about my brand ever as a leader. I cared about being a businessman, behind the scenes, building my team, mentoring my CEO, David, making sure that we can, like, focus on growth strategy. More now than ever, like, I wouldn't start Elite Daily ever again. You know why? Because you're the media platform now. You're the media platform now. You're the media platform now. We have the ability to become our own media platform. So you need to really, like, double down on that right now. And you don't need to be something you're not. Like, document, show where you're at, open up, learn how to build your community. There's power in that. And it doesn't matter how many followers you have, but leverage it, put out quality content, look to build relationships, engage with the social media for the right reasons. Like, so many people use social media now just because they want to scroll, and that actually is, creates jealousy and doubt because you're looking at everyone else is doing it. But if you can leverage it as a tool, as an asset, not of who you are, but as a tool, as an asset to express what's meaningful to you, express your purpose, build your community, it's really powerful. And I've been doing it for the past 18 months, and it has changed my life. Changed my life. I've become way more powerful as a networker and built real relationships with real influencers. We live in a world where, like, people think influencers is like people just with an amount of followers. And this is another reason why I wanted to step up. There's a lot of thought leaders out there, but I wanted to be a show leader. I wanted to show. I'm doing it all over again. And I wanted to meet the people out there that are the real show leaders, that are the real people that are doing it, and then get them to buy into you. My number one mentor said to me, one of my other mentors said to me, when I was talking to him about Fownders and I'm getting ready to do our seed route, started doing it all over again. He's like, Gerard, what's your number one differentiator? And for us, I'm like, well, we're a social learning platform, we're doing this, we're doing that, and live stream and expert, blah, 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 all these things, right? It's like, no. You are your number one differentiator. You are your number one differentiator. You are your number one differentiator. You're the reason that anyone's going to believe in you, from, like, your number one user to your investors to your advisors. So you have to own that. And I think that's how you build a network. That's how you end up getting even a mentor to believe in you or to get into this ecosystem. What is the meaning? Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you here? What is your purpose? A mentor, someone who wants me, like, I get DMs, like, on fleek, and I can't stand when someone hits me up like, will you mentor me? I want to learn how to make $1 million, or I want to become rich, or I want to become successful. But when someone writes me a handwritten letter and talks to me about why we align in our purpose, and they, for me, that's when I actually, like, really connect with someone, and I'm willing to give up our most valuable asset, which is our time. So I do believe that now is the best time ever, not to be an entrepreneur, but to also document. That's why we have leaders, real leaders out there right now, like Gerard Adams, that are saying, do it now. It doesn't matter how old you are. You don't need to be a millennial. You don't need to be Gen Z. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's a mindset. This is history right now. Look at what has happened in the past 10 years. We are changing the world as entrepreneurs. The world is changing. Skills are changing. So what are you gonna do while you have this time right now? What are you gonna do?
Okay, so I have a comment, and then I have one last question. It's a hypothetical situation. So my comment is that, so I used to work at Starbucks, right? And not a lot of people know this, but Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, the reason why he makes them write your name on the cup is because he knows that the customer, their number one brand in their life is them. So by them seeing their name on that cup in that experience and enjoying every part of it, they're going to come back. Starbucks zeroed in on their number one brand, and that gets their returning customer. A lot of people just think it's because, I got to identify what cup is mine, but that's not it. He really went above and beyond and thought about that, focused in on exactly what you just said. And look at Starbucks now. Everybody's a return customer, right? So thank you for bringing that up, and I've always wanted to share that as a barista. So this is going to be my last question then. Jamil, are you ready? Okay. If you had to have dinner right now, tonight, by the way, he went to Gabriel's Gate tonight for chicken wings. So if you were to have dinner tonight with 3 of your favorite entrepreneurs of all time, where would you go and who would they be? Take your time.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Outside of that, I really want to come back for a Buffalo Bills game, and I really want to do it right, and I really want to tailgate. So if you're down, let's get this going, Jamil. I'm relying on you to put it together, bro. You gotta put this tailgate together, bro. All right. But if I were to go to dinner with 3 entrepreneurs and I had to choose, off the top of my head, I would say Richard Branson. I'd say Mark Zuckerberg. I would say Mark Zuckerberg. Oh boy. It's between Elon Musk or Sheryl Sandberg. Between those two. It's a really tough one. I would tell Mark, Mark, can you bring Cheryl with you? And I'm gonna call Elon. I don't know. It's a tough one. I think because we need more female leaders. And so let's Cheryl. Look at Cheryl. Yeah. Cheryl, what's up? We need you. I just, obviously with Fownders, for us, diversity, inclusion is really important. I grew up with 2 sisters. I grew up with a hardworking mother. We need more female leaders to step up right now. Really own it. Y'all have such power. I believe they have a 7th sense. I wouldn't be who I am today without the women in my life. And with my last company and with my current company, Fownders, the women are the game changer in our companies. And especially when it comes to culture and just execution, reliability, loyalty, integrity, all these things. So I think Cheryl, after reading her book, and if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend Sheryl Sandberg's book. It was so inspiring after hearing how she lost her husband the way she did and how she has stepped up as a leader right now. It's really inspiring to me. And there's a lot of amazing female leaders out there, but I read her book recently and I was really inspired, and I want to be a supporter of, right now Fownders is partnered with United States of Women, which is backed by Michelle Obama. We are working with She Works. So I want to see females continue to thrive, change this world, and so I would say Sheryl Sandberg is the last one. Shout out to all the female entrepreneurs.
You forgot to mention where you would eat.
Oh, I don't. Jamil. Where were you? I don't know.
Back to Gabriel's Gate.
I'll take it to tailgating. That's it. Yeah, back to Gabriel's Gate, but I'm not sure. I actually, I would love to know, like, where do you recommend?
I recommend Curly's Bar and Grill. It's in Lackawanna. It's my girlfriend's restaurant. Shameless plug.
Nice.
Buffalo, New York. Let's give it up for Gerard.
Thank you.
Coming all the way from New York. So, Jamil, why don't you introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about why today's special?
Can you guys give it up for Gerard Adams one more time? This is pretty incredible. Gerard, we really appreciate you coming up here to Buffalo today. I mean, you know, Sean, the entire Startup Grind team does a fantastic job with just connecting entrepreneurs to different thought leaders and such. And, you know, to have you come up here, it was really amazing. You know, so we really appreciate that. For you guys who don't know, my name is Jamil Cruz. By day, I work as the Director of Social Media and Digital Engagement for the City of Buffalo. I work in the mayor's office, managing all the social media and such. And I was talking to the mayor about Gerard coming up here today. He really wanted to be here, but unfortunately he had another commitment tonight. But we wanted to do something special for you, Gerard, because you do so many great things. Just with entrepreneurs, and especially in your hometown of Newark. And what you've been able to do is really affecting folks all over the world. I'm sure a lot of folks here have been really affected by just, your commitment to entrepreneurship and such, and just growing that entrepreneur ecosystem. So we wanted to do something a little special for you. So we have a City of Buffalo Executive Chamber proclamation. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it says, whereas Gerard Adams, widely known as the Millennial Mentor, is a serial entrepreneur, angel investor, and philanthropist. He was the founder of Elite Daily, the millennial content platform that reached up to 80 million readers worldwide. And whereas Gerard Adams is the winner of Magic Johnson's 32 Under 32 award and was listed by Business Insider among the top 100 most influential people in Silicon Valley. And whereas his current endeavor, Fownders, is the learning ecosystem for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs, built for those looking to develop the hard skills and soft skills needed to align their purpose towards a prosperous career and lifestyle. And whereas Gerard Adams, while he continues his role as an investor and influencer, his mission in life is to mentor and inspire young entrepreneurs to develop what it takes to be successful and turn dreams into reality. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Byron W. Brown, Mayor of the City of Buffalo, do hereby proclaim August 23rd, 2017 as Gerard Adams Day in the City of Buffalo. And extending our best wishes for continued success in the future. So, Gerard, we want to present this to you, and thank you so much for all your contributions to the entrepreneur ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Wow, this is the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me in my entire career. This is by far the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. Thank you so much. Bill, thank you so much for being your open arms to me since the moment I landed in this city. Thank you to everybody here for coming out. Thank you to Dig and to 43 North. Thank you to the City of Buffalo. I am somewhat in shock, but the one thing you saw how excited I got today in the fact that I really do believe that entrepreneurship is going to rebuild this country. And we at one point became we are the most indebted country. Think about how great America is, and we became the most indebted nation in this world. We're the most powerful, the most innovative. And it's the entrepreneurs, if we look at everything around us was started by an entrepreneur. Even the great corporations right now in the City of Buffalo, the same way in the City of Newark. I call out to those executives because they were entrepreneurs. They know what it feels like. We need to support the entrepreneurs in this nation, starting in our communities and starting in our cities to our youth. they need to learn these skills. They need to understand personal development. They understand emotional intelligence. They need to understand financial literacy. They need to get taught taxes. They need to get taught a lot of these skills that, are not being taught today. And I just want to be at the front line with these entrepreneurs out there. I'm side by side as an entrepreneur. And I'm just really, really, really grateful because I believe that we are seeing momentum. We are seeing momentum. You all see it right now in this great city of Buffalo. We are seeing it back in Newark. There's such history. There's such history here. There's such history in Newark. Our mayor is doing such amazing work. Your mayor is doing such amazing work. The community and the citizens are doing such amazing things. I think we just need to continue to work really hard to support each other, support the youth, support new businesses, bring the jobs into this economy, and I'm excited to see, how it is going to continue to evolve like it has over the past 5, 10 years through technology and innovation. And it's going to only get better, and I'm really grateful for this moment. I really am. I'm grateful for all y'all being here. This is one of the greatest moments that I'll always remember for the rest of my life. So thank you so much to the city of Buffalo. Thank you.
So we're going to pass this back over to Sean. So we want to take a few of your questions before we wrap up.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Wow.
All right, let's get those hands up. Who's got one? Brett, back there.
How you doing? So,
I meant to become a Bills fan now. I said I'm a Bills fan. I am a Bills fan.
let's go Bills!
That was great.
How you doing, Gerard?
How you doing?
All right, so for one, thank you for coming. I love so many things that you said resonating. It's kind of how I try and operate in our business. We are a local business, and one of the things that I think we try and do is not only do we have products that are good, but we want to tell the story, and that's something that you're clearly a master of, making a huge amount of people become interested in what you're putting in front of them. My belief is that you can capture a customer by having a great product, but you can capture them for life if you have a great story. They find the people behind it. I think we're doing a good job of getting that story out, but what I want to know is, do you have any advice for how to sell the story before the product? Because I think that really is more important. When they buy into you, their love for the product is going to be everlasting, especially when the product is good. So what would be your advice as far as trying to sell the story and make it come out as an authentic delivery of that? You don't want to be self-serving, and that's one of the things I struggle with. I don't want to have too much face time. I don't want to be the one in front of the camera. At the same time, our PR is like, no, you need to be out there. You need to be the face. So, what's your advice on that?
Yeah, I would say, why do you not want to be in front? I would tell you that you need to be, if you're the founder. First and foremost, I would say, you need to be you need to be the leader of that. People are going to. I went through this at some point in my career, right? Like my last company, Lead Daily. I was like, you're going to be the CEO. I'm going to mentor you, David. I realize now, I need to step up more as a leader and be more of that voice. And I would recommend that you don't hold back. Start sharing more, becoming more of that voice, because people are going to be first and foremost buying into you before your company. And I would love to work with you on this too, learn more about your business, but it's the narrative. I would say the one piece of advice I would give you is, what is the narrative? Because people are going to buy into that narrative, and the words are the most powerful thing in the world. So, having a powerful narrative is what's going to get people to understand what that story is. Because people don't necessarily care about what the end product is, but they want to understand the journey. They want to understand. They want to relate to it. They want to connect with it. So it's understanding how to build that narrative so that you can connect with your customers and audience, and understand that you have built something that almost feels like it's built for them, it's specifically built for them, and that they're a part of it. And I think that comes with kind of creating a movement around it. It's more than just a product. I always say with founders, it's not just a platform; it's a movement. So understanding how to kind of build that into the narrative is important. And then purpose. You know, what is that purpose truly behind it is like so important. And we've seen so many social enterprises now really succeeding because, look at Tom's. I think Tom's was like the pioneer in that. So thinking a little more like, how is it giving back? And I think that's really important too. So I'd love to talk more about the business itself. Oh, cool. Any other questions? Sure.
One of the biggest things that's been trending for success teams is that you're extremely good at analyzing data. So what do you think is giving you the biggest ROI as far as data analysis goes in just anything that you've done?
The biggest ROI that, as far as
So like
platform?
What's been the most effective way to analyze data? Because if you're writing for such a specific audience or you're targeting startups of a specific area, like how do you collect that data and how do you usually analyze it?
So I'm not a data analysis. I'm not I bring people that are really great at analyzing data to my team. I know my strengths. So for me, I understand how important it really is. I understand how to get people's attention. I understand how to be able to bring that data in, and then I bring someone on my team that's able to analyze that data and optimize that data and go through it with them. I apologize, but I wouldn't be able to give you definitively like what's best way to like optimize and analyze that data.
Yeah, when you started Fownders, you said you were had trouble getting people in the door. What was the tipping point from struggling to make this happen to, I've got it, now it's working?
The tipping point. The biggest tipping point for me, actually, it's kind of crazy. I really genuinely believe that like with Fownders, it's manifesting, it's bigger than me. And like the thing for me that clicked was when my real estate developing partner said, I'm out. And then stopped believing in Fownders. And was like, I want to just do my real estate thing. And I was like, well, I'm doing this with or without you. And I felt like the turning point for me was when I felt people were starting to like instill their doubt in me. That's when like, for me, I like really, it pushed me a lot more. And then after that happened, just like a couple spiritual things for me, like we're right next to the Newark Renaissance House, and we're across the street from Mother Teresa's like nun's house. And for me, it's like a lot more, there's a lot of meaning to that. And my church is down the street. And one day, there was this young man that was walking past Fownders. And I have a lot of stories like this, but one in particular named Shakoy. And he was walking by and he's like, yo, what is this? And he had just came out of the Newark Renaissance House where a lot of the young kids come out of, like, get in trouble. And I was like, well, we teach entrepreneurship. And he's like, well, what's entrepreneurship? I'm like, well, it's like business. We teach business. And he was like, oh, I'm interested in business. And I was like, yo, come inside. Like, let's talk. And he came inside and I sat with him in our mentorship room. And he basically opened up to me that he's been lied to his entire life. He's not going to amount to anything. His uncle got shot and killed on his front porch. You know, his friends are getting killed. His parents are not really guiding him and on drugs and alcohol and all these things. And when I started to talk to him about my story and telling him, like, I know what it's like. I went through, like, hustling, and I was in that, getting caught up to my environment. But your current circumstances, your past circumstances, your environment don't determine who you are today, who you can be tomorrow. Who you decide to be, the decision you make and what you decide to do is going to determine your future and your path. And if you are open to it, I would like to help you start coming here every single day, and I'll be here right by your side to help guide you. And that next day, he showed up with a tie. And so for me, it was like, yeah, I laughed at it. You don't just throw in a tie. You know, but to me, that dedication, and to this day, I have a relationship with Shakoy, guiding him. And like, that's when it hit home for me, where it was like, okay, like, regardless of what happens, like this is power. That was one of the most powerful moments in my entire life that happened. And he's changed. by mentoring him. Like, he literally ended up going to school, and on the high school stadium, invited the high school to come into the stadium and did an unconventional motivational speech in his Newark high school. His friends started coming to Fownders like, yo, whatever he's on, yo, I want to be on that shit. I'm like, okay. So, to me, that was like a turning point. Yeah, we'll take one more. Sure.
So when you see everyone around, they do say, okay, find the right mentor. And
So I'm sorry, say that one more time.
find the right mentor to help you to get where you're supposed to be. And my question is, if you didn't find a good mentor that you have the same chemistry, which strategy were you going to use to get where you are now?
So that's the great thing about the internet too. I mean, if you have a hard time connecting with a mentor, I mean, right now, I think it's like the greatest time, regardless, like online, you can find, like, you can do the research and just literally look up to the greats that have done it already. And they're sharing research. And then I would tell you too, like, start to actually take action yourself, start learning and sharing that process, sharing that you're doing it and sharing it with people that you look up to, and like continuously do that. And I always take notice if I see an entrepreneur that is reaching out to me, but it's not just reaching out to me with an ask, but is reaching out to me, showing me that he's taking action, getting results. And if you find someone that you really think you can connect to, go to them with value and know what will mentor you. Meaning, one of my mentors, Ryan Blair, his son has autism. So I didn't go to him to ask for anything. I went to him with value and saying, how can I support autism? How can I support that cause? And I think, look, if you can find a mentor and find something that is way past business and support something that's like really deeper and more meaningful to them, and then build a relationship with them because of that, a lot of times a mentor will then start to give you their most valuable asset, which is time, and start mentoring you. So, I think, obviously do it authentically because you care, but, find out if you can really connect with a mentor, show up and show up for things that they're doing, for the things that are most meaningful to them. All right, so thank you everybody for your time. I really appreciate it. If you would like to connect, feel free to shoot me an email. It's gerard@fownders.com. I'd love to see how I can support the initiatives here in Buffalo. I think this is like, an amazing time for us to learn from each other as we're building this out. I would love to also figure out strategic partnerships with Fownders and what you're doing. So again, thank you all. I'd love to connect with everybody. I'm super grateful to be here.